American Handgunner Insider.
Hey folks, Tom McHale with American Handgunner Magazine, here again with another episode of Insider. I have got something nifty and cool that I just ran across to show y'all, and even going to show you how it works, how it installs, and go from there. But first, this is how this whole little topic started. I have got one of the original SIG P320 full-size pistols. This one happens to be chambered in 357 SIG. I like the caliber. Those of you watching this on video will notice the grip frame's a little different. That's because it is a Wilson Combat upgraded grip frame. These things are fantastic. We're going to have to talk about those on another show and how to swap one out. Absolutely love this thing. Anyway, my eyes are getting a little old, a little slower on the iron sights, and I'm kind of liking red dots now, but this pistol does not have a slide ready to do that. I'll either have to get it cut or get a replacement slide from SIG or some aftermarket part. And here's where the little find came in. Ran across a company called OuterImpact. They make all kinds of parts for motorsports, a lot of sights and sight adapter type stuff for handguns. OuterImpact altogether.com, and you'll find your way there. Anyway, one of the things they make is a system called MRA, modular red dot adapter systems. And think of this as a universal-ish system to be able to mount red dot sights on pistols that are not equipped for red dot sights, just using the rear slide dovetail. The universal-ish part is pretty straightforward. The plates are kind of standard. I'm sure they do vary a little bit based on the pistol model, but they have a bunch of holes in them for pegs and screws, so they fit a bunch of different sights. Another custom part is I'll call it a little dovetail filler piece, and think of this as just a thin piece of metal that goes in there. It's got 2 screw holes in it and a couple of pegs sticking straight up that mate with the mounting plate itself. And in a minute, you'll see how all this works. First thing you got to do, you got to lose your rear sight on your standard pistol. Right now with this system, there's no co-witness, so that is your price of entry to do this, to put a universal red dot adapter on your gun. I used a Lyman sight pusher to push this thing right off. It was a piece of cake. You can use a punch. If you got some red Loctite in there, you may need to heat it up a little bit. Be gentle. Use brass punches if you have to, or nylon, preferably, if that'll get your old sight out. And then before you start doing anything, clean it out real good. Use some degreaser and clean patches to get all the gunk and grease out of there, because when you put new screws in, you want it to be a nice, tight, and snug fit. Anyway, here's how this thing works. You take that little sight dovetail filler piece and you push it into place. In my case, it went in pretty easily. I did have to give it a couple of taps with a nylon gunsmith hammer just to center that thing up perfectly. I could have used anything. It wasn't anything like mounting a regular sight. Not very tight. And that's okay, as you'll see in a minute. It's kind of by design, in fact. So once you get that thing centered, you're going to take the sight plate itself and drop it down on top. Those 2 pegs, sticking up in the version I tested, will mate right into the plate. The screw holes in the plate will line up with the screw holes in the dovetail filler piece. Now, at this point, you're going to drive 2 included screws down into that. And what that does is that lifts up the dovetail filler and brings the plate down against the slide. So you basically get for lack of a better word, a compression fit, into that dovetail. That's why that filler piece doesn't have to be a super tight, machine perfect fit. Works really well. Ideally, you want to tighten those mounting screws, to put the plate on the slide to about 25 inch pounds, not foot pounds, inch pounds. If you can get your hands on a little torque driver like this, all the better. If you can't, use an Allen wrench and use your fingers. Don't get crazy with it. So you can always use a little red Loctite on those screws to keep things snug. Anyway, so once you get the plate in place, you have got a platform to mount a red dot sight. I measured mine, and it basically increased the height over a dovetail cut approach to this same thing by maybe 1/4 of an inch, give or take. So you'll see in the final product, it's not really a big deal. Doesn't make this big, obscenely tall and bulky pistol when all is said and done. So once plate's in place, you'll find that there are some pins included. These are to place in some of those various holes based on the sight that you intend to mount. In my case, I used a Trijicon RCR. That's their new enclosed optic, kind of the next generation of the RMR, in a fully enclosed version. So put them in the right holes, drop the RMR in place, use the RMR screws to mount that down to the sight plate itself. And voila, we have a revitalized original SIG P320 that was never intended for optics that now has a nifty red dot sight on it. So kind of a cool solution. I'm looking forward to taking this to the range. If you want to do this to a pistol you have, they've got a slew of models and configurations for this. They'll run about $60. Might vary a few dollars based on the specific model and configuration, but good chance you'll find what you're looking for. CZ, Glock, SIG, Springfield, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, the list goes on and on. Lots of models. I think there's about 6 pages on their website of options for this thing. So check it out. Company is OuterImpact.com. Hey, if you want more American Handgunner insiders, be sure and hit that like button. Leave us a comment if you want to learn any more about this or have some comments. Maybe you've tried it yourself. Let us know your experience, and we'll go from there. Oh, and be sure to like the FMG Pubs channel so you're notified when new videos come out. We'll see you next time.